about this whole
you say that
ultra
Hypno,
diverse
because
thing.
of that, I almost went to see it because we have been saying we want original stories. And so my initial thought was this is an original story. So I'm going to go see it to show the box office we want originality. But the more I looked in this movie, the more it seems like it sucks. And like original doesn't necessarily mean good. So I'm not going to go see the movie just because even though it is original, it still needs to be quality. And that is the difference. I will pay money to this day for a good quality original story. I almost paid money for this, but this isn't it.
Well, remember the movie Larry Flint? I'm sorry, boss. Remember the movie Larry Flint with Penthouse, with Woody Harrelson, the Penthouse story, where they kind of, went into the Christian kind of channel and they tried to kind of, redo the Penthouse magazine according to Christian standards, like have naked women and all that stuff. And they were like, okay, let's go back to business, right? Let's undress people again. And I think Disney kind of, now they are torn on the inside because I believe there is like a huge workforce inside of Disney that wants to get back to the, to what they were, once. But hey, let's not forget one thing. In 2005 or 7, we could find the article. It really happened. I mean, they were like, there was this huge lawsuit against Disney that went down in the Netherlands, actually. Disney somehow could deflect this whole thing and take it away from the US legislation and put it into Netherlands legislation, where actually thousands of families kind of filed a lawsuit against Disney because they were inserting all these, all these, demonic type of figures in their cartoons in those in-between frames. And they were spoken guilty. So already in 2005, 7-ish, we already knew what Disney was all about at its core.
Well, Disney has forgotten who their audience is. It's the kids. That's
no, they didn't forget. They didn't forget. They don't care, bro.
I don't know. I think they focus so much on diversity. That's what they focus on. And they don't actually target the kids and make it for kids.
Oh, Disney always loved targeting kids, Persian man.
Yikes. I mean, look, the reality is, in the eyes of the people that don't give a fuck about identity politics, they want that shit the fuck out of their entertainment. To them, Disney is one big diseased shit stain. That's just what it is. And they created that scenario. Whenever I see anything Disney, I want to fucking vomit. I don't want to see it. I'm uninterested. And I grew Lion King is like my favorite film of all time. I watched as a 4-year-old. I got a VHS for that. I watched it every single day for like over a year straight. Every single fucking day.
Great movie.
You couldn't tell me shit about Disney back then. You couldn't tell me shit. And I would like, as an adult, I would like to look fondly at Disney like, oh, you guys, you made my childhood. But I can't do that because they have become everything that comes off. Not to use this term lightly. They feel satanic to me, and I'm not a very religious person by any means. But they have this satanic like shit stain on them now, and it's disgusting and it's sad and it sucks that we're here, but we're here, and they brought this upon themselves.
It's ironic that it's kind of like it's kind of like the Magic Kingdom, that like the veil has been lifted off, kind of a thing, right? Like it used to be the Magic Kingdom, you go there to experience the magic of Disney World, but now as things have progressed and you can kind of see them for what they are. They really overstepped with the whole parental rights and education thing. I really think that was that was the tipping point for Disney, because before then they were doing their race swaps, they were doing their typical woke shit, but they really didn't take it to that next level. But the moment they switched up and they were like, oh, we want to stay out of politics. Well, Bob Chapek tried to, and then all of a sudden, like a week later, like, well, on second thought, we like to indoctrinate kids. Let's fucking go for it. And they just completely went for it. That right there was
killed
the
them.
tipping point. I really believe that.
Right.
I do believe that 100%.
No, you're right.
I think this speaks to an audience problem. Look at this first review. The last line says, it certainly makes up for it with the self-aware exploration of the dangers of idealism. Disney's whole magic for its first probably 85 of these 100 years was idealism. The movies were idealistic.
Value.
Now there's not the dangers of it. That means the audience is also completely missing what original Disney had when they're calling into question the dangers of idealism.
And I can't believe that a company that is so big with all the statistics, all the numbers and figures that they have such smart, incredibly huge marketing departments to know exactly that the human brain, the human psyche doesn't like radical change that much, that the human brain doesn't like to, to see things being flipped and turned over in terms of value and what they mean, the words, the characters, right? We get used to our heroes. We want to see our heroes back. They should suffer, right? They should go through a hard time, but at the end they should overcome and bring victory and healing and catharsis to us. If you flip those ideals, those metaphors, right? Because you think now it's a great time, now this is the time for the agenda, now we're running with this new wave of thought or whatever. I mean, this is the result. People are upset. They can't stand it anymore. In the beginning, I believe like many parents still kind of try to convince themselves, well, it's just minor adjustments, right? They were probably talking with each other or to their kids. The kids were the first of not being really satisfied, right? But the parents, I mean, they maybe they saw these changes and were telling each other, like, you know what, maybe they're doing this. Yeah, this is modern now. I guess this is, a kind of a sign of its time, whatever. But in the end, now it's so blatant that they don't even care about characters, storytellings, heroes, and those wonderful characters.
Yeah,
they don't care about it. It's so blatant. It's so obvious.
Disney has become more of a political party than a actual production company,
right?
And
it has been.
It's a sad state. It's a sad state.
Oh, and also... I do want to mention one thing about this movie. I noticed, I found a common pattern with the movie itself as to why it has the rating it has, and based off the negative reviews, the movie is very empty in terms of originality or risk. Like, it's as empty as Coach's bowl is going to get, basically. Okay.
I had to mute him because he's chewing in the mic.
Yeah, he was like,
no, it's fine. But
chew louder, Coach. We need to stop Dragon's monologue.
Oh, shut up, you twat. Right. So what happened is basically what people are complaining commonly about the movie is that the story seems to be a very lazy cookie cutter copy paste of previous better movies. They don't try anything new. A lot of the songs, according to parents who took 6-year-olds to the movies, they said they're either very bad or very repetitive. They're not fun to listen to. They find them annoying. And yes, some of them even mentioned that some themes in the movie seem to be very evil in the that they're trying to dump onto little kids. And also, one person even said, like, my 6-year-old fell asleep or got bored watching the movie, which is insane because this movie is obviously targeted at that age group. But,
and that the evil character was like kind of hard to understand and one-dimensional and not really evil. And
well, like, a lot of people were saying this film wasn't really about being its own film. It was more like just kind of being there to kind of remind you of what happened the last 100 years for Disney. It's kind of like a nostalgia bait movie sort of a thing, really. That's
like, the end of it makes Disney a shared universe. Like the end of the
get
movie.
The fuck out of here, seriously?
The main girl like goes on to become the fairy godmother from Cinderella or whatever. The little lamb partner is the one that goes on to found Zootopia. There's a living doll.
Too late to make a fucking MCU. No more of that shit. I'm tired of that shit.
Are you kidding right now?
It's the nexus point from which all other Disney movies sprout off from. Like one of the characters is a living toy that is supposed to explain how Pinocchio can eventually come to life.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not exaggerating. The end of this
that makes no sense. Of course,
that makes no sense.
Watch that.
Leon,
why would a kid want to watch
what's crazy? The way you explained it makes it sound insane. Like, if Disney came up with it and you make it sound like that, this tells me like whoever came up with this idea was high on cocaine. That's all I can say.
Well, let's find Treasure Planet.
That's the problem. They don't do cocaine at Disney anymore.
Alone. Leave Treasure Planet alone and leave Atlantis alone. They're making a fucking remaster or reboot, whatever it's called.
I really hate. I enjoyed the initial MCU. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the initial MCU.
Of course.
All the way till Endgame. There was some hiccups here and there.
Yeah,
but it was overall good. I do not like what the MCU has done for filmmaking because everything now has to be a fucking shared universe. I hate that shit. Like I miss standalone films, or at least like standalone series within its own world, right? Like Dark Knight was one of my favorite movies by far, but that wasn't part of a fucking shared universe. It was just literally about Batman, and that's it. Like I miss movies that were just for themselves. This whole like, oh yeah, let's make a movie so we can connect to this other fucking bullshit. Like, stop that. Not everything has to be a shared universe. That's why when we were talking about I forgot how long ago this was. It was probably like a couple months ago when we were talking about Super Mario Brothers after the success of that movie, how people were asking, oh, should there be like a shared universe for Nintendo movies? And I'm like, no, don't fucking share. Don't share them. Don't share them. Keep them all separate. I'm tired of this shared universe shit.